Hey everybody, keep watching this again. This time I'm gonna read a fic. It's not from time to time, but it is called. Oh, let me see what this is called. Uh, like I said, I fail almost every weekend. I fail every time. I'm the rock farmer's daughter. Daughters. Rock farmer's daughters. Alright, ugh. Okay, yeah, I don't know what this fic is about at all. Basically, yeah, I'm going in blind, so. Let's get this over with. This is the prologue. One video for the prologue, and then I'll see how long it is. I might be able to. If the prologue isn't that long, I can't go above, like, what, 10 minutes? Let's do this. Author's note. Hooray, it's my fanfic. My first Friendship is Magic fic. Now, if you've seen the story on fanfiction underweight call for, okay, you guys can read that. I'm sorry, just skip the author's note. If it's too long, the skies were cloudy as they always were, unwilling to let even a sliver of sunlight through. The land was barren, and there were only rocks of every size scattered atop the soil. Trees completely stripped of leaves stood in a few spaces, providing more gloom for the landscape. Other trees made up of a forest nearby, and though they were a sign of life, they still didn't brighten up the place. Among the rocks sat a farmhouse, with a windmill beside it, and a silo several yards away. A simple fence surrounded the structures, with a family of earth ponies called home. Oh, no, which a family of earth ponies called home. God, okay. A little pink filly had pushed the last of her rocks into a pile and glanced around, searching for even a smidgen. Ah! I never heard that word, smidgen. Oh, I might have to get Gavin Free in here. The British, huh? I'm sorry. I'm not trying to insult the British at all. I swear. I swear, I don't insult. Unless you're a huge jerk, I don't insult. Okay. But still, sorry to British people if I sound like I insult you. I'm very sorry for that. When she saw that there was none, she sighed and turned toward the house, her neck aching from her constant slouch that day. She had just barely come into the house when she heard the voice of a mare speak her name. Pinkamena! The little filly looked up, gazing at her mother with her big, blue eyes. Next thing she knew, she was balancing a bowl of stone soup on her head, while her mother pointed up the stairs. Not much needed to be said on why she was doing this, and so she followed the silent directions, briefly glancing at her father and two of her sisters in the process. Pinkamena shakily climbed the stairs, praying that she wouldn't drop the soup. Not only would it land her in trouble, but she wouldn't be able to shake the guilt of wasting the meal that wasn't meant for her sick older sister. She took deep breaths as she... Oh no, that was meant for her sick older sister. She took deep breaths as she ascended each step, with the phrase, "So far, so good," repeating in her head. That's when a sudden boom thundered in the air and shook the house. Picamino could hear the sisters below her shriek, and her father shouted something drowned out by the noise. She ended up dropping the bowl, though it miraculously landed right side up on one of the steps, with only a minor spill. Her eyes were wide and her knees were shaking as she looked at the bowl and pondered the source of the boom. She was tempted to run to the window and look outside to see what had caused all the fuss. However, she had a job to do, and she was going to finish it. Her big sister was waiting, so she got the bowl onto her head once again and continued her ascent, wishing her straight hair could grip it in order to keep it from falling. She made it to the top of the stairs, and made her way to the room she shared with her sisters. She bumped open the door and walked in just as she heard a rasping cough. The cough came from a gray-coated, purple-maned filly in one of the beds. She covered her mouth with her hoof as she coughed, with shudders went through her body. Once she finished her cough, she wiped her mouth and looked out the window with an emotionless stare. "Maud?" asked Pinkamena. "Are you okay?" Maud continued to stare out the window, showing no sign having heard her. Pinkamena walked forward, still balancing the soup on her head as she approached. She had arrived at Maud's bedside when the sick filly finally replied. "I'll be fine," Maud said slowly. She slowly turned to Pinkamena, who carefully slid the bowl off her head and onto Maud's lap. The older sister blinked, her half-lidded eyes on the soup that had been delivered. She murmured a word of thanks before leaning forward and taking a sip. Pinkamena glanced out the window and was surprised upon seeing one trace of the cloud that had covered the sky before. Instead, there was a vast expanse of light blue above this landscape. Her mind went back to the boom a minute before and asked, "Maud, did you see what happened? That big booming noise?" Maud was still sipping her soup when Pinkamena asked this, and it took a few moments before she rose from the bowl, glanced outside, and answered, "It was a colorful shock wave in the sky." Pinkamena raised an eyebrow and tilted her head at that answer. Maud ignored and added, "It cleared the sky and made a rainbow." Pinkamena still held that look, not knowing what to make of Maud's answer. She was a little disappointed that she missed seeing something so unusual, but considering it made the house shook, who knows what it would have done to her had she stayed outside. Still, she couldn't help but sigh. Seeing a rainbow would have been nice. She watched as Maud took another sip of the soup. Sometime after, said Boom, a lonely spirit left home. The little orange colt plodded along the dirt road. His head hung as low as his spirits were, though it was a bright and sunny day. He could feel clouds hanging over him, and despite the near silence of the field that the path cut through, he could hear voices in his head, calling him from every name that had been, Actually, I'm just gonna stop here, because, I'm almost out of time. Sorry about that. I'm really into this fic now. Tomorrow I'll start part 2 of, The Farmer's Daughters. See you later, everybody. This has been Kingdom Hearts 100 with the fanfic reading, and, I am not a voice actor, but I, iffy on the narrating. But if you like to just comment if you want, subscribe if you will. Later!